Anyone
can be underrated.
as fuck.
You are now tuning into the latest episode of the Underrated as Fuck podcast.
Hosted by the one and only Bliss.
And you already know, Mighty Zay.
Yo, what is good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Underrated AF podcast.
Let's go.
If you haven't noticed already, we are being joined, and it's an honor, by the commissioner of ISKA, Jeremy Cardinal. Let's get it, baby.
How's it going?
So yeah, this is crazy. We always talk about Zay's fights. He's getting further and further in his fight career. So what not a better time than now to invite somebody in the industry? I think that's
The
pretty
man of
cool.
the hour. Literally.
So we'll get into that in just a moment. But first, like we always do, let's talk about music real quick. I promised you guys last week that we would go over the Gunna album
Oh, that's right.
and the Childish Gambino album. Admittedly, I did not hear them. Did you?
I totally forgot. I'm not even gonna lie. That's all right when you reminded me.
So I plan to go listen to them. Childish Gambino totally spaced, but Gunna, I actually listened to the album, but it was skippable in my opinion, and I know that's like that might be a real controversial take for a lot of people, but I did not really vibe with it. I figured out quickly that I'm not really a Gunna fan. And could you like speak on that real quick? Do you have to be like a certain type of fan to like his music?
Not entirely. I feel like there's been like some music that kind of like has like a pretty much like a broad aspect of like fans, but for the most part, I mean, I guess every artist has their niche to where they sell to their majority of their people, you know?
Well, throw me hate if you want, but I will give it another listen through, all the way through, without trying to just look for like the things that sound good.
Was that the one of one?
Yeah, the one of one with he has like that blue thing
Yeah.
around his head or something.
I heard the single, the one of one.
How was that for you?
It was alright.
There you go. It was aight.
It was alright.
So I'll give it another playthrough just for the love of music. But as of my first impressions, it's aight. Yeah, I'll give it the aight.
We gotta wait for Jeremy's rating.
So Jeremy, so let us know your opinion. I don't know how into the hip hop community you are, or whatever, but let us know what you think about Gunna's album.
I haven't heard it at all. I just know him from Little Dicky.
Okay.
yeah.
I like him. He's cool.
Yeah, that's where I know him from. When I seen that he's making albums, I'm like, wait, hold on a
what's
second.
going
He was on Little like Dave. He was on Dave.
Is Lil
the
Dicky
show.
the one
Yeah.
where, dude, is Lil Dicky the one where he's like, brain gotta poop?
Yeah.
Is that Lil Dicky?
Yeah.
I'm dead. Okay.
That bitch don't know about Pangea.
Yeah, I'm a fan of
Little braid.
when that song came out, Save That Money.
Yeah.
With was it Young Thug, maybe Rich Homie Quan?
I think it was.
It might have been Rich Homie Quan.
I think it was Rich Homie.
Anyway, I'm definitely a fan of Lil Dicky. But as far as Gunna goes, not really familiar.
No, not at all.
I will tell you straight up, if you're about to get into some rap like that, maybe not jump into the Gunna album.
I will say, like, my favorite song from Gunna is Hollywood Love. They ended up, like, he was a feature on there, but his fans loved his feature so much that they ended up ripping his feature off, or they took the original artist's vocals off and they just rinsed and repeated his vocals throughout the entire song.
Really?
It's pretty hard, yeah.
Okay. Well, you have to show me that.
I'll show you.
So next up would be the Childish Gambino album. So like I said, I didn't get to it. Did you get to
I
it?
was fighting.
Yes, that was the same weekend.
Yeah.
Jeremy, did you get to the Childish Gambino album?
I was making sure he was safe.
He was fighting.
Do you have any like overall opinions of Childish Gambino?
None at all.
No?
I really haven't dove into that. Or I've heard of him,
Yeah.
but just not really. A couple songs I'm familiar with, but nothing in too deep.
I think I'm in a similar boat with you. I couldn't like name a song by this guy, to be honest.
This
But
Is
I
America.
am a fan. Oh yeah, This Is America. That's
3005.
There you go. Okay, so I am a fan. But if you were gonna recommend Childish Gambino to somebody, what would you tell them to listen to?
I forgot the name of the album, but it's like a picture of him and it's like a red background. I cannot remember the name of that
Is
album.
that the one with 3005?
Yes.
The same album?
Yeah, I
maybe.
believe so.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll maybe get Jeremy acquainted with some Childish Gambino at some point.
He
Sounds
did,
good.
he did make that show Atlanta too. That was a pretty.
Oh yeah, he did do that.
That was a pretty
Right.
good show. Like as shows go, for like if you just want to sit down and watch something, I would suggest. It's a pretty good little show to get into.
So this is the new music news, and it's just one. Kind of a surprise drop. This happened last night, so I'm a big fan. Vince Staples dropped his final album on his record label Def Jam. So pretty exciting for me. I'm a big Vince Staples fan.
Because now he gets to just let loose.
We'll go to Jeremy. Are you familiar with Vince
I'm not
Staples?
familiar with him either.
I would definitely, if you want to get into some. Are you pretty like familiar with the rap scene in general?
90s and 2000s. I mean,
Okay.
Master P, Tupac, Biggie. I mean, the newer
Gotta give
stuff.
it a day, baby.
The newer stuff, I'm just not too familiar with.
Right. So if I was gonna recommend you listen to something more modern, I would probably push Vince Staples on you. But that's just a recommendation.
He does have a nice flow, and he's a lyricist too, so it's really nice.
Nice.
So what is your opinion? Did you hear the album? Did you hear I did show you one song at least. Remember the one I showed you at the gym?
Yeah, it's just too slow paced for me though.
Low slow?
Yeah, just a little slow, but it's still good, but it's just not.
So I can give it a proper rating because I heard it twice at this point. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10.
It's kind of high.
It's high because I'm biased. Maybe it's a Vince Staples thing. But the reason why I gave it a C was because you kind of get the feeling like he put together this album as if it was the last one. It's like he put this together so he can get out of his deal with Def Jam. Like you can see a little bit of cohesiveness with the songs, but in general, if you kind of just play through it, there's not really like a nice flow.
Super enjoyable.
Yeah, it
like
kind of
vibe.
sounds like he almost brought maybe some of his best songs from different
Just kind
vibes,
of like mash them together.
put them together, and then
Feel that.
here you go, Def Jam, I'm out. Like, so still exciting though for me to get some more Vince Staples because we never know when an artist is gonna stop making music.
Right.
It could be,
I feel that though.
this could be his last project, and that's it. But hopefully we get more from Vince Staples. Super excited. That's pretty much what I got for new music. We just to clarify, we usually talk about the more significant like albums that come out. There's like plenty of music that comes out every week, but we're not gonna get into every single person. They gotta really be
Kinda shine
on
a little
their
bit, yeah, on their shit.
But so yeah, I'm super excited. Let's get into Commissioner Gordon, so to speak. This is our Gotham City Commissioner, Jeremy Cardinal. Let's get it, baby.
Let's go. We know.
How's it going?
So first and foremost, where did you grow up, and what high school did you go to?
I grew up in Chandler, and
that's close.
I went to Chandler High.
Chandler High School.
I went to Chandler High.
What
Nice.
class were you?
I didn't
Wait, we
graduate
don't gotta
from
do it like
Chandler
that. Wait, you don't gotta do it like that.
Yeah,
That's hard.
I went to Chandler High, Chandler High Alternative, and then I went to East Valley High, which was on the Air Force
Oh
Base.
yeah.
Oh, for
Back in
real?
the day, yeah.
Where is that exactly?
It was Chandler Boulevard all the way down. You run into
I
it.
didn't know there was a base over there. Is that?
It used to be a base, but they made it into
Is it the
homes for the battered women, I believe.
Oh,
And
wow,
then they
okay.
had East Valley High School there, which we got wanted twice. I mean, it was pretty locked down. We were locked into the school pretty much.
Nice. Okay. So wait, is it like a ghetto, or would you say it was more suburby?
It was away from everything. So I mean,
I feel that.
they bust us all in because we got in trouble, and that's why we went to that school. It was like a school for troubled kids, I guess.
So you didn't make it out of the ghetto.
No.
Safe to say. Okay.
Jeremy's a fire too.
I'm curious. I knew before you did the commissioner stuff. You were a fighter
Yes.
your whole life, or what did you kind of do? During your
I've been fighting my whole life.
Yeah.
Different stuff. I had cancer when I was young. When I was 15, I had thyroid cancer.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't have a thyroid, so I take medicine every day. But I got to the point where no matter where I'm going, I'm growing. I've been on the street since I was 15.
Okay.
You know, just trying to navigate
Right.
life. You got to fight. You know, no
gotta
matter
fight.
what, you got to keep going. And you get down, you keep going. And it took me a while to get to where I am today. I guess people tell me I can't do stuff, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I can't do that. Watch
Watch
me.
me.
I can't get my
Welcome to the club.
right. I can't get my diploma. Watch me. I
Yeah.
can't get my associate's degree for paralegal stuff. Watch me. I can't fight. Watch me.
Right.
And
Nice.
it's just the motivation. Like when people would tell me you can't do that, I'm like, watch me. You know,
I had this sense of you being underrated AF. And you know what I'm saying?
Seriously.
So, and that's a big reason why we got you on the pod. I knew just from hearing from what you've told me and then from what Zay's told me, you just had, I feel like there was just this extensive history that we just needed to
Unwind.
unfold here on the pod. So quick question to go back to the thyroid thing. What is that? Because I'm not familiar.
I don't know how to explain it. It's a part of your body that you got your brain, but it tells your brain what to do. I mean, or your brain tells it what to do. I'm not completely
How it
sure,
communicates, yeah.
but it's like a big part. I mean, if you don't have it, you'll slow down, you'll die. When I was on the streets,
You're still here.
when I was on the streets, you're supposed to take thyroid medicine every day.
Oh, okay.
When I was on the streets, when I left home, I didn't have thyroid medicine. I didn't go to the doctor. So for like 2 years, I wasn't taking my thyroid.
You're really just thugging it.
And I ended up in Safford on top of a mountain, cold, and my body locked up.
Really?
After my body locked up like that, they put me in the truck, put the heater on, and then I was like, we need to go down to Mexico and give me some medicine.
God.
And I
Yeah,
started taking my medicine after that.
Okay.
But they were just surprised. The doctors were like, you went for 2 years and you didn't have this medicine. Like, you need this to live. And I'm like, I always push the envelope. Tell me I can't do it. Tell me I have to have medicine. Watch.
So were you like on a ticking time bomb at that point?
In a way.
Or
Basically, I was.
were you just lucky to get through that 2 years? You know what I mean?
I was kind of scared that I was going to die anyways from having cancer. So it's kind of like you tell someone there's a good possibility you might die, and you're like, okay, then I'm going to go party. I'm 15 years
Yeah,
old.
right.
I'm going to go do whatever I want. And then you turn 17, 18, 19, 20. You're like, oh wait, hold on a second. I'm still here. I gotta do
You
something.
said, "Wait, I gotta plan this life out now. What's going on?" Like,
Right.
Yeah, you locked in.
And when you found out you had that, what age were you?
50, I was 14 when I found out. I had surgery the day after Christmas. I think it was 94. The day after Christmas, I had surgery where they went in and took it out. And then being on the street, a month before I turned 18, I had warrants. I had stuff going on.
Yeah.
Turned myself in to clear all that stuff up,
Nice.
and then went to the doctor and went to go for a scan. The doctor said, "What cancer?"
Wow.
So the cancer was just on. It didn't spread further than. the
No, it was
thyroid.
gone.
It was gone.
Nice.
It was
Like,
gone. Yeah.
And
You
then,
literally fought that out of your body.
Right, and I think mindset is a big thing.
Yeah.
When people hear they got cancer, if they sit around and be like, "Oh, poor
gonna
me,
develop.
poor me," or you're just like starting to get darker, staying in your room, not doing nothing. No, you gotta watch some funny movies, eat some good food,
Right.
not be cheerful, and be around people who are gonna lift you up.
right.
If you're already depressed and you got people that are depressed that are around you, and you got cancer, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
There's nobody's lifting you up.
Yeah.
And I've seen it time after time. Is people who got that positive outlook.
Right.
And they're eating right. Like, you got to take care of your body. You just there's miracles that happen, but you gotta have
You gotta
along.
grind that.
So you're a perfect example of a miracle that happened, right?
Oh,
Because that
I would say,
took
yeah,
you
100%.
took you a long time ago. I mean, you're only pushing 30, right? But it took you a long time. Wow. I did not realize we were in the presence of like a cancer survivor.
And I had breast cancer 10 years ago.
Really?
They did a double mastectomy. So I beat that too.
Wow.
So it's like, I'm here for a reason.
They must want you here for something.
There's something. I love mentoring kids. That's
Big time.
younger people. I love mentoring
Big
them.
time.
It's just this new generation. There's a little lack of respect.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm running into. Like, I want to help out these kids, but then if you don't got the
Right.
respect, it's hard to guide you in the right way when
Yeah.
you're not even respecting my time or respecting what I'm saying. It's kind of hard. When growing up, we had that respect. I feel like we had that respect. When someone was talking to us, we listen. These kids just do what they want, and
I think you're right. Are we talking about the millennials?
yeah, I would
Like
say
our generation or before that?
I would say
Kind
or
of
I mean
around
a little bit
around your guys', a little bit later maybe.
We're the exception though, right?
No, knowing you guys, like I don't see you guys like that. But there are just some people that are just, it's just how they're raised. I
Right,
mean,
yeah.
In the '80s, we got whooped. We got whooped in school. I remember getting the principal whooped us, and we got home. From the bus. We got whooped at home. You know, it's just.
Get whoopings everywhere. Yeah.
But we had that respect.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing that anymore. It's very rare. You know.
You know, speaking on that, we don't have to dig too deep into it, but I can't help but mention, why is it that a lot of these fighters don't make weight? And you've said that before too. Like you were talking to Coach, to Max, and I overheard you. And I heard you say that, yo, these kids got no discipline. Like something like along the lines of that. Like,
Well, the respect factor, right?
It's another respect. I mean, a respect for your promotion that you're gonna do. You want to make weight. I know when I was fighting, that's a big thing. You don't make weight, like people almost shunned you. Like don't ever come like that, because
Right.
your coach is responsible. You're responsible.
Right.
And when I see sometimes over 20 pounds on some places, like, what do you mean over 20? How do they even pro? I mean, some pro stuff.
AKA Jose's fighters.
Right. And then it's kind of like, okay, so how do you come into a fight 17 pounds over? As a fighter, I would never do that, first of all.
Yeah.
But how do you live with yourself? But
Right.
it's just,
How do you make
that's
that
gross.
decision?
That's gross. That's
Right.
that's a gross.
Well, it's just dishonorable at the end of the day. Like, if you, for me at least, and I know for you, for every time that you've made weight, it's just more of like an honor thing. It's just more of like an achievement. Oh, I made weight. Let's get this fight going. Instead
Right.
of, like, not like, it's almost like we look more forward to making weight to fight rather than just the fight alone. You know? What I
Right,
mean?
and we trained for 3 months, 6 months for a fight, and then we get to the fight, and our guys or they didn't show up, or
Yeah.
they didn't make weight. Because I had one guy that was after me. I think his name was Mark Mason. He was after me for years.
You wanted
He's
to
like,
fight you?
I want to fight you when I see you, and didn't show up. Didn't show up.
Oh my gosh.
And I think he was supposed to fight him, and then Josue
Yeah.
showed up, and I was like, respect. You know, you showed up to a fight. Who knows?
Right.
It was like maybe a month out,
month notice,
and he still came to, and those are the.
He made weight.
You're
too
there to
for that.
fight.
Yeah.
You're there to fight. You know, you're not there to pick and choose. He's just like, let's go. I'm like, cool, respect.
And I can't also help but mention why, and it's happened so many times with Jose, why can't you even give like a week in advance? Like, come on, you're coming in 15 pounds over, and we got 5 days till weigh-ins. Like, give us the opportunity to at least find him another fighter.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you really think you're going to drop the 20 pounds in a week?
I think that falls on the coach as well,
Yeah.
because the coach should be watching what you're doing. With Max, I mean, I was there at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'd come back at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and Max was always, what's your weight? Let's get over here. What's your weight?
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, you know, there's a couple people that are responsible, but ultimately it's you as a fighter.
At the end of the day,
to make your weight.
you know what you're eating, you know what you're drinking, you know what you should be doing and what you're not doing. Like, at the end of the day, and if you're not making weight.
Also, I might be like super biased because I'm sitting next to a guy that has always made weight, and I'm not familiar with your weight history. You always made weight, right?
I'm heavyweight, so I make weight all the time. I'm not trying to. I remember we had people that were in the steam room, and I'm out getting ready to go to the buffet because I'm hungry. But I feel like when I lose weight, I lose power.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me just stay kind of where I'm at, maybe a little going down a little bit, but nothing drastic, because I feel in the power of my punches that
you can feel there's like, it's like your well isn't as deep.
right.
You know what I mean?
You get that same feeling even at the 150, 160 range?
Yeah, when I'm dropping down, like if I'm fighting at 155, I feel good. But if I'm dropping down to like the 147, like that's where like I'm starting to feel like, whoa, like my power is a little bit dwindling, so I have to focus more on endurance.
Mm-hmm. So wait, do you ever worry real quick on you about the 147? You know what I'm saying? Like,
No.
What if it's super fatiguing this one time and then you're like, you just don't have that power behind it?
That just means that I didn't discipline myself enough to make sure that I was ready for the fight.
Wow. Like he said, anybody that wants to smoke, hit him up. Oh, dead. So, yo, that's cool. Yeah, speaking again about like the younger generation, do you think that has something to do with the advancement in technology? Like they're always on the phones. You know what I'm saying? Maybe
There's lack of eye contact.
There's a lack of eye contact. There's I think just face-to-face meetings.
Yeah.
We'd ride our bikes to our friend's house. We know where everybody's at, so our bikes would be in the front yard.
Right.
We'd get kicked out for the whole day. I mean, it is Arizona, but we get kicked out for the whole day, drinking out of the water hoses, swimming in the ditches.
Yes, sir.
But that's how we live. Now it's kind of like on your phone. You don't have to tell anybody anything. You just be like, oh, I don't like you, or
Twitter fingers.
Yeah, like go ahead and just talking on your phone. Like,
So would they have to kind of be involved with like the distance behind so much social?
yeah,
Interaction?
I think so. I think we need more social interaction just as people, even as adults, even now as adults, like on Facebook. Oh, hey, how's it going? Well, how about going and actually hanging out, going and doing something, because
Grab a bite to eat or something. Yeah.
right. It's not as common as it used to be.
Yeah.
I think we're moving away.
I feel like
I
that too.
agree. I feel like we're slowly sailing in this direction
Right.
of like the technology and stuff. I want you guys' take. So it has to do with the younger generation. What's you guys' take on how the kind of society is looking more and more down on like hitting your children and stuff, or like how children are getting more and more brave to like go tell the cops that their mom hit them with the chancla or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like what is Jeremy? What's your take on like that?
I think discipline is important. I think discipline is done when you're not mad. I know as a kid, growing up in the 80s, I remember it was when I was getting hit, they were pissed.
Yeah, boy.
They were mad. So growing out of that and getting beat up as a kid, so with my kids, I'm like, okay, I don't want to be what my stepdad was to me.
Right.
I don't want to be that person. And it took me a little bit. Then I'm like, I'm really pissed off. Like I should not discipline them. Why I'm mad. So I'll be like, you go in the room. I need to go cool off. When I get done, I'm gonna we'll have a conversation and discipline, whatever punishment it will be. But it's gonna be like legit. Not I'm gonna take your arm off and beat you with it because I'm just saying stuff. Or you're grounded for a year. That's not gonna happen. Kids hear that and they're like, he's full of it. But if you stop, think about what's going on, go back and think, okay, let me hear you, and ask the kid their side.
Right.
Like, what is your side to this? Because they need to be heard, and that's another thing. Kids need to be heard. I understand that. Okay, tell me what you feel. Okay, I understand that, but I'm your dad, and this is how I feel. Like, you don't hit your sister.
Yeah.
You don't hit females, especially for my sons. Like,
At the end of the day,
you don't hit females. It's gonna get you in trouble. So let's stop that right now while you're young, and not even get to that.
It don't even need to be a habit. It don't need to be nothing.
Right.
I'm really resonating with what you're saying because I might be a little bit privileged, but my mom to whoop my ass with the belt, with the buckle even at some point. You know what I mean? And that was kind of traumatizing. Not so much, but in like a little bit of a way to where I feel very, very reluctant to hit my kids. You know what I'm saying? Like that is almost like do I want them to see me in that way?
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, I really resonated with what you said about, okay, let me take a minute, or even if I don't take a minute, let's have a conversation. Let's see how you're operating up here, and then let's see how we can fix this.
Right. Let me be clear. I mean, I'm not perfect, and I had to learn. I had to get to that point where I need to calm down. But yeah, I grew up like that. That's what I seen. But immediately after, when they're your kids, you're like, whoa, it's not. You don't need to do that. Like, take your time, chill out, and hear your kids out. And then when another thing too with the kids that I seen, raising my kids, is that when I'm wrong, hey, I'm sorry. I was mad.
Boom.
I was mad.
It's such a big.
And then my kids are like, "What? What do you mean?" I said, "No, I'm sorry. I made a mistake." So, me telling them, "Hey, I'm sorry,"
that's huge.
Allows them to be like, "Whoa, well, it's okay to apologize, and when you do something wrong, to just own up to it and then move on." Because I know my stepchildren as well. Like they're just like, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sorry." And they're like, "Well, we've never heard that." And I'm like, "Well, I love you guys, and when I come on you and you guys are being wrong, that's I want you. I'm wrong too sometimes. Yeah. So,
daughter, is that real?
What?
What do you think about what Pops is saying right here?
I don't know what you just said.
That's funny. I just
We got
wanted
the
to put you on
cosign.
the
Got the
spot.
cosign.
So you said you were beaten as a child, or
Yeah, I was.
is that
Yeah,
too
I was.
much
Yeah, no, I was.
to
No,
say?
it's fine. I was abused as a child. Just it's a different time. It was a different time.
Yeah.
Right.
I wouldn't be. I can sit here and say I wouldn't be the person I am today if that wouldn't have happened. I don't think it was necessary, but
Right.
it did mold me into who I am to know that even when I was fighting, I'm like, ain't nobody could beat me like my stepdad. It sounds horrible.
No, not that.
I'm like, go ahead and throw all the punches you want.
You're
You know, I mean,
right,
it
yeah.
doesn't. It's not gonna. Especially as a kid, when I would get in fights in school.
Whenever
like,
you were really young too, like, pain back then, I feel like as a kid, whenever you experience pain, it really molds you for how you perceive the world
right.
and then how your actions are to the world moving forward. And a lot of people nowadays, since they're stuck behind their phones and they're not really getting that rough parenting, like they're not getting that discipline. So it's more of like they're not really being raised the way that we were whenever we're getting disciplined and punished for like certain little things. Like,
Right.
like my mom wouldn't really like she would whoop my ass like every here and there, but like she would always get my brother and my sister to beat me up. So it'd be like, oh, like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna whoop you, but like Bone Summer, like they would like hold me down and start wah 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 wah, like. But
CPS can't get called.
you know what I mean, right? Brother,
No, I get it.
I'm dead. So I think we're all in agreement here. Beat that ass.
Yeah,
No, I'm just kidding.
yeah.
You know, Jeremy's like, whoa.
He's
That's not what I was trying to preach over you. So me and Zay like to talk about kind of like what motivates people to be successful. You know, we always talk about being disciplined, finding that motivation, your inner dog, right? I want to get your take on, do you think people need some sort of trauma in order to light a fire? Or does it just kind of assist sometimes
It's a good question.
in order to like achieve some sort of success, anything like that?
I think trauma is kind of a big deal in a lot of people's transformations. Like trauma usually happens and then they change. There's some people I think that, they're tired. They get tired. No trauma really happened, but they're just, I guess that could be
Right.
trauma too, that they're just tired. They're tired of living like this, or they're tired of not getting this and not getting fights, not getting this, not getting first place.
Right,
So
right.
that could be kind of a trauma, and then be like, hey, I need to change. What
It can
changes
be.
do I need to
Yeah.
make? But they have to have that drive.
Yeah.
There's not very many people I see with that drive nowadays. The heart, having heart is a big deal.
Yeah.
Huge.
I've run into very few people who have that heart, nowadays. So, yeah.
So it's a big deal to have the respect from Jeremy because he has
Oh yeah. Oh my
he has
God.
vetted you.
Yes.
Like your brain, how is he looking? You know what I'm saying? All right, cool.
Well, they say iron sharpens iron,
Right.
and you got to be around the same people that are doing the same thing you're doing. I mean, if you're on the street, and I heard this, it's like a cop out growing up the way I grew up. It's like, oh, it's because I was born here, or because I'm in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
That's not no reason why.
Well, I
Because I
grew
was
up
in the same neighborhood. So what's the excuse? We have different paths that we take,
Right.
and some people mature and get out, and some people don't. And I've seen both sides. I've seen people in their 60s still doing the same hoodlum type stuff, like they're 16.
It's a mindset.
Like, come on, you
Right.
didn't get to that point where you were like, all right, I need to change up some stuff. Like,
Right.
You just run around those
What?
people to promote that. You know what I mean?
why do you think that is? Why do you think people get to the point where they get complacent?
They feel like that's the only option. I think they don't.
Like they're trapped?
I think in their mind, it might be like mentally, it might really be that in their mind. They are trapped.
Right.
It's in their head. Like I know the streets. That's all I know. Well, then learn something else. If you only know the streets, then start learning something else and better yourself. I think it's a lot. I guess especially for like the Hispanic culture is tios and tias doing whatever they were doing.
Oh, my
So
God.
this is who we're looking up to. But once we go back and look, and it's like, wait, hold on a second. They had the cars, they had the girls, they had all this. But where did they go? Where did they get in their
Yeah.
life? Like,
Right.
why was I looking up to this? Because I'm a kid and I'm looking at money and being popular.
Seeing as that is power. Like,
Right, and then it's nothing.
Right.
And you get to the point where like, do I want to teach my kids that? No. I don't care if you got a
Absolutely.
64 Impala and you got 10 chicks. Like that means nothing.
It's not gonna get you nowhere.
All right, you're still living in your mom's house.
I'm
Oh
dead.
my
That's
god!
funny.
Literally,
Yeah.
literally.
I fear getting at a point in my life where I'm just complacent.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what that's like. I feel like whenever I slip into complacency,
Mm-hmm.
I start to get like depressed. And I feel like what am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I have this weird thing that
Complex.
keeps me motivated, you know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know. Like I do tend to surround myself with people that are very hungry for anything. Anything other than like ordinary.
Right.
Like
I feel like those are people that are just like close the gaps. You know what I mean? Like if you're willing to get there, you're willing to get there, and then go here, and then they're willing to catch up to you. It's just
like
always never.
we've had
elevated.
some friends, you know, that we've had to not really cut ties with, but
Just kind of
you
separate a little
know,
bit.
maybe like I can't put too much energy into you because you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're
Instead
not
of
really,
hanging out with you every single day, we'll hang out every 2 weeks or 3 weeks. You know what I mean? But we'll still keep in contact.
Well, I've told my wife this a lot. You gotta accept people for who they are.
Right. Right.
Okay, we know each other, we grew up, but I accept you for who you are. But I know if I go to the bar, I can't bring you with me because you're gonna start, you know,
I feel that, yeah.
people like that, like
You too rowdy.
people that are
I
still
like that example.
they're still out there on the street doing like,
Yeah.
okay, you know, we're cool, but you know, I'm not
You can't go to the barbecue.
right. My wife said you couldn't come over.
Right.
So Jeremy, I want to go back real quick to your early
Okay.
like life. Did you go to college?
I didn't go to college till I was in my 30s.
Okay,
That's
so
cool.
And I got my GED when I was 22. Here in Arizona, they were raising up the standards. And I was like, well, I better pass it before they
really?
raise the standards. And I ended up passing,
nice.
passing to get my GED. And then
It's my dog.
just, I don't know, school wasn't my thing at that time. And it was in my I had a problem with I had an issue with my kids, custody of my kids. And I wanted to learn
Okay.
how I can help myself. Because I had an incident with my kids where I didn't bring my son back when I was my kid's mom said bring him now, and I said no. And well, then Tempe police came and kicked in my door, and they said that I didn't kidnap my son. Basically, his mom and I said this is my son too, and they said, but you guys aren't married.
And women
So-
have the most rights in Arizona.
Me not being married took all my rights away.
Yeah.
The mom has all the rights until the dad goes to court and does maternity and all that stuff, and then he can start
Right.
getting rights for his child.
So were you on the birth certificate?
Yes, I was.
Wow.
Oh, you know what? I'm not sure. I think I was. I'm not sure exactly. But either if your name's on it or not, in Arizona, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It just the mom has the rights unless you're
Right.
married. And that's just how it was. And I was like, no, this isn't fair. This isn't fair to me. You can't tell me when to bring my son home, like because you're mad or you know you're emotional.
Just
And now I
'cause,
want
yeah,
my kid home.
yeah.
Like no,
No,
I'll bring him home when I want.
Yeah.
So does your college history have a lot to do with that? To the the paralegal stuff that you had mentioned to me before?
Yeah, that's all.
Is
It
that
was
literally
paralegal.
what you went to
Yeah.
college for?
That's it.
Oh,
And I
nice.
wanted to help
Yeah,
other
that's-
guys as well to help them get through. Hey, I've been part of a couple father groups that you know are there to help each other. And that's what I wanted to do is share the knowledge.
Yeah.
Right.
If I go through something and I come to a group and I don't share or I don't tell my friends, hey, I've been through this, I'm cheating them
Yeah, in a way.
because if they knew it, they'd be like, hey, Jeremy already told me that. Like he gave me the
Right.
advice.
I'm not gonna move down this route that's gonna lead me down to this outcome I don't want.
Right. So it's like just communicating with your friends and then, hey, this is how it is. And I told everyone, if you're not married, you have no rights. I was making sure everyone that had kids, I'm like, you have no rights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's crap. But there's some cases where you know the dads are not where they need to be mentally or whatever, and they got
Right.
issues.
Right.
Understand that completely, but that wasn't me.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's not a lot of people. It's like you can't just keep kids from their fathers because you're having a bad day.
Right.
If they're taking care of them, they're supporting them. You know, even if they're trying, we all make mistakes. You know,
Right.
And we had people get out of jail, and they're like, "I just want to see my kid, but my kid's mom won't let me because I went to prison." And I'm like, and they're crying. You know, they're all tatted up. They're the
Right.
hardest guy walking down the street, and they're sitting there crying. I'm like, it's a dad. Like,
Yeah.
I feel that. I feel that. Hey, you made a mistake. You should get a chance to, hey,
Prove yourself.
yeah, prove yourself. Hey, that was me as a dumb kid.
I'm growing.
I'm
right?
not that kid no more. Like, give me a chance to slowly or whatever to move it on, so I can see my kids.
Right.
So you don't have to tell me your like credentials and all that, but I'm just curious. Do you have your bar card, or your like, you know what I mean? Are you a lawyer?
No, not a lawyer. I just went to it's just a paralegal.
I thought I had a connection. I was
I
gonna
wouldn't
ask you
doubt
for
that.
some services. No, I'm just kidding.
I was looking into going into becoming a lawyer, and when I was a paralegal, I was doing family law at that time. And the lawyer that I was working for is like, Jeremy, you do all my research. You do basically, I look over your stuff and put it through. And he goes, but I'm not making much right now. I think it was around 2013, 2012, 2013, and he's like, it's flooded.
Right.
So it's not, and you're gonna put all yourself in all that debt for what?
For what? Yeah.
He goes, I would just hold off a little bit and see if that's really what you want to do.
From what I've heard, law school is very expensive.
I heard it's very expensive, and I heard
It's
people
extensive.
very how do you explain, depressing. I mean, they get depressed.
Really?
The suicide rate was pretty high when I was looking
Wow.
at it from law school, because I think you can't work. I think that's one of the things.
Oh,
you
you
can't work. I think
practice
you might
law while you're-
work, like have a job. I think maybe you
Oh.
can get like a part-time job or something. I'm not exactly sure on that.
Jeez.
But you gotta. I don't know. It's rough.
I wonder how it is like nowadays if somebody wanted to get into something like that. Like I'm pretty sure like now, because there's so many ways to make money now online and alternative routes, that if they're still able to kind of pursue that life and still have like their life outside of that, rather than them just being like, oh, you're not allowed to have that career or job outside
Right.
of this.
They said that it's just they're so busy in their work that they don't
Yeah.
have time for.
Oh,
Yeah.
that makes
They don't have
sense.
time to do that stuff because they're so. It takes so much
They're swamped.
brain power.
Yeah.
So the whatever, I don't know how long was it. You want to tell us how long you were in college? It doesn't really matter. But.
I was 3 years for my associates.
Nice. And was that enough like knowledge in order to help you in your issues that you were having?
100%. As soon as I got into it, they told me where I need to go to look for and how I can look stuff up and
Right.
how I can look my own record up and everyone else's and go through that stuff. And I'm like, that's all I needed. Just give me a game plan. Now I know
Right.
what to do. And even when I was working for one of my attorneys, he's just like, dude, just send it in.
So are you you're a success story, right? For having that, getting like custody or partial. I don't know. If you
Well,
have
my
custody
kids,
or-
when they were allowed, me and his mom had talked, and it was a big deal for me because I'm like, no, the kids need to be with me. And there was an argument back and forth. But we came to the conclusion that, hey, where do the kids want to be? The kids chose when they got the chance to come be with me.
Right.
My son graduated high school.
Did they tell the judge where they wanted to be?
No,
Is that what
they told their mom,
Oh,
I want to be with my dad.
Oh, that's
You know, and they're like, yeah, I want to be with them. And
how could you not? Like,
everyone has their different. We're all different.
Yeah.
I mean, their mom is their mom. They love their mom. You know.
yeah, but Jeremy's dope.
Were you like the fun scapegoat? You know what I mean? Or was it just? Did you have a great connection with your kids?
I just wanted my kids to get the best that I could provide.
Right.
But being in control, like being there to make sure they're going to school every day.
Right.
They're not manipulating me to be like, oh, I'm not
Structure.
going to school.
Oh,
yeah, the
yeah,
structure.
Yeah.
And my daughter just graduated 8th grade. Tino, my
Shout
son,
out 8th grade.
graduated
Well, shout out 9th grade. Come in.
a year ago, 2 years ago. He graduated high school, and I'm not too sure if they would have graduated if they weren't with me.
Because they didn't
Because
have
that structure
discipline.
and that discipline, and I understand it's hard for some single moms to
Yeah.
discipline their kids and get them where they need to be. I understand that completely. I just wanted my kids like, hey, we can make this happen. Let's do it. I don't want to hear no excuses.
Let's
Don't
work
tell me you
together.
can't. You
Right,
can't.
right.
No, you
I
will.
hate that.
Right. My son is like, oh, what if I don't graduate? I said, that's not even a no.
Why is that even a
Yeah,
thought?
yeah, that's not a thought. What are you talking about?
So I heard this fact, right? I just heard it. I'm not a professional whatsoever, but I heard this interesting fact that children that grow up with a single mother, like no father involved, are more prone to like. Is it adolescence? Is
I
that
think
like
it's adolescent. Yeah.
And then children that grow up either with a single father, with no mother, or with both parents are more likely to be successful.
I've seen those
I don't know if
statistics
you've
as well.
seen
I've seen those
something like that.
statistics as well. And even just being in jail, being incarcerated, with the single moms, a lot of those kids, they're in that percentage of
Right.
they're in trouble.
Shout out fathers.
Oh yeah, shout out fathers, but shout out for mothers as well.
I was going to say, just shout out to the parents that are willing
Oh
to
yeah,
just-
no,
and
no
it's-
hate to the mothers.
well, parents and then guardians as well. I mean,
Yeah,
there's some
yeah.
guardians out there that are just end up with kids on their doorstep
Yeah,
just because their kids couldn't. Now they're raising their grandkids as their kids,
Right, right.
and their kids are out in the street doing
Whatever.
dumb stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. So could you give us what's the update real quick that like today on that situation with your kids? Are they older now?
My son he's 19, 20. He's in North Carolina. He's
Wow.
doing good. He's got a job out there.
He's far.
Yeah, we're gonna go see him in about a month.
Okay.
We're gonna drive out there and see him. And then
That's so dope.
my daughter, she's still going to school. She's in 8th grade. They're at like an accelerated school, Legacy Elementary.
Oh, Legacy, yeah.
Yeah, so they're a little bit accelerated. So when she came into the school, she was kind of behind. But with my wife's guidance and the
Oh, that's
teachers,
cool.
she's A and B's. Last semester,
Oh.
A's and B's.
I barely passed with D's.
I crawled.
That was
crawled.
Yes, we crawled through high school. Both.
And then we got another daughter, Addie. She's in high school right now. Really involved in dance.
Oh, that's dope.
And then Caleb, he's
Caleb.
18. He's in Japan right now in Okinawa. He's in the Air Force.
Oh, nice.
So we're proud of him. He made that choice to,
Join
that's
the
what he's gonna
military
do.
and all that stuff.
and I'm like, good. We need more of that. Like, how is he gonna do? I didn't know how he was gonna do.
Yeah.
But I was like, if he made that decision, he's
He's
out
choosing
there.
a path that had structure, discipline. All right, he's up for the challenge.
It's
let's
a
go.
big,
Like,
it's a big thing. We have a close friend that went to Okinawa in the Marines, and he came back another person. I'm not gonna say he came back bad or good, you know what I mean? But it definitely was an experience for him.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely was.
That's good.
So yeah, that's awesome. So you got the whole herd.
Oh, and then I
everybody's
got my other daughter Hazel. She
Damn,
she
you got how many
in El Paso, 6.
Man's is working.
She's going through her own things, and she what is it called? Job Corps.
Oh, the job.
She went
corps,
through
yeah.
Job Corps and finished that program herself, doing her own thing, independent. She chose that she wanted to live with her mom, and she'd come and visit. But
Oh.
my house is
Open
structured,
Yeah, yeah.
and you put your phones up at 9 o'clock,
there you
and
should-
like
there's
a
rules there.
discipline, yeah.
And she's like, Dad, I don't like your rules, and I'm like, well, when you're at my house, that's what
This
it
is what
is.
it is. Yeah.
I may have lived a lifestyle before, maybe possibly like our mom, like a crazy lifestyle, but now that I'm like, no, it's about responsibility, about taking care of your kids, and that's where I'm at.
Right,
And
right.
if I was like, I'm gonna go get my daughter, but then it's like, if I go get her, then is she gonna run away because she doesn't like that?
I get what you're
She
saying.
doesn't
Yeah, yeah.
do
She's
that,
fighting
and,
that force.
and it's gonna
Yeah.
cause more problems.
Yeah, yeah.
I think about it every day. Should I went and say like, just brought her, and I don't care if you like rules or anything, you're gonna come live with me because I feel like you'd be safer with me.
Right.
Right.
But she's doing good for herself. She's got a job and she's a lifeguard for
I
a
like
while.
that.
Oh, that's
Your
dope.
team, just Jeremy's kids. Like,
Well,
it
anything that
sounds
comes to my kids, I'm like, what do my kids want? It doesn't matter what I want. It doesn't matter what their moms want. Like it does to an extent, but what's best for them?
Right.
If I'm gonna make this decision, no, you can't talk to your mom no more. Yeah, I could probably do that, but for what?
right.
What's that
Because it's gonna be
benefit?
hurting the kid.
Yeah.
And was selfish? Me being selfish? Like no. If you
That's
want
not
to talk to your mom, I'm going to support you. I'm going to support your mom. And if your mom goes into hard times, and this has happened many times, my kids' moms have fallen on hard times, and I step up to be like, here, I'm going to take care of your rent. My wife and I, not just me,
Right.
but we're going to take care of your rent just to show my kids that we're here because of you.
Right.
Now,
right.
me paying your mom's rent isn't because your mom.
Yeah.
This is because I want you to have a place to stay and help her out to let them know that, hey, we may not be together, but I'm
But
still
we have
there.
this,
So
yeah.
there's a support system there, and we're gonna do our best to help out.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's like I wouldn't want to see my baby's mother like go through a struggle that I could potentially help her through. Like,
Right.
like if she's going through that issue by herself, it's more of like, can I step in to help in or can I not? Like at the end of the day, my baby's mother, if she's winning in life, my child is winning in life.
Right.
I'm winning in life. So
I have, and with my with Bella and Tino, their mom, there was some stuff going on that I had to step in, and take her out of situation.
Yeah.
And I don't believe we were even together at the time, but she's alive because I did that. She's alive because I stepped in.
That's beautiful.
And it took a lot out of me, and people were like, you can't do it, you won't be able to do it. And I said, why?
Watch
Another thing, watch me.
Watch
Don't
me.
tell me I can't do that.
Watch
You
me.
know, and she's doing better than she was.
Uh-huh.
And she's doing good. She's married. She's out there in North Carolina. She's doing better than she was, or she would be if she was still on the street doing
Right.
whatever she was doing. But I feel like sometimes we don't want to. We might not want to inside, but it's like like I said, what's best for the
Yeah,
kids? It's
right.
not.
Drop all
These
ego
kids,
aside.
right? Because these kids are hurt as it is. You know,
Yeah,
these kids nowadays, like let's be there for them and look out for them. What's their best interest?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
when they get older and they're like,
Just guidance. Like, how do we really guide them to the right way?
right, exactly, 100%.
I knew when I met you that you were a good dude. You know, and me hearing more about like your past
Mhm.
really validates that.
Well, I appreciate
You're
that.
appreciated.
I appreciate
Seriously,
that.
seriously.
I appreciate that.
I want to get your fight history real quick. So when did you start fighting?
I think it was 2012. I believe it was 2012. It was
Oh, that was kind of fairly recent. Kind of. I mean, compared to the college years, right?
yeah, compared to the college years. So I think it was about 2012. It was
Wow, that
we
was
were
11
doing
years ago.
what were we doing? We were doing a benefit fight. I think it was Goodyear. It was out there somewhere on the west
Like
side.
Peoria or Goodyear.
Yeah, something like that. And then we all fought in the card. Someone fought the principal of the school.
Really?
I
No
fought someone,
way.
and all the funds went to the band.
Oh,
That's what was
nice.
so cool. That,
Yeah.
that from that fight, that was
Yeah.
all the stuff went to the band.
Hey, about the fighting, real quick, we got to shout out Coach because we haven't made it clear yet. You were fighting with Jose's coach,
Right, Max Olivas.
Max
Yep.
Olivas, Max Olivas from AZ Dragons, baby.
That's correct.
Jeremy used to whoop my butt, boy. Let me tell you, boy.
Max, if you're watching this episode, we got to get you on the pod.
No coach.
Yep.
So, okay, cool. So you did that event with the school, like you said,
Right.
right, to raise money for the band.
Right.
Where did your career in the fighting go after that?
After that, I fought the Arizona Event Center. That's where I fought Josue Reyes.
Yeah.
That was that one round. One round they wouldn't continue, or was it, what was it? I think it was first round or second round. He couldn't continue. He was thrown up. Like,
Really?
He ended up. They took him out of
Did you
the.
blast him in
the
the
body
stomach?
shots or what?
I just think we're both big guys,
Yeah.
and then we just get overwhelmed.
Grab that bucket. Oh,
Right. I mean,
so-
he got me on the ground pretty good, and I'm like, he got me like
Yeah.
at a bulldog choke, and I'm like, it doesn't even hurt me.
It's
Oh,
nothing,
was
yeah.
it an MMA fight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So
And so it's like, what do I do? And then both my kids' moms were there,
no way.
sitting ringside, and I was on the ground, and I'm like, I can't lose in front of that. I can't
no
lose in
way.
front of them. And then I ended up coming back. I stuck them. We were on the ground for a little bit. They stood us up. It took me a little bit while I got hit, and that hit flipped that switch for me.
Yeah.
Really?
And that's when I got him with the jab, and
Yeah.
I just went after him, and they.
So what was the weight class on that fight?
I want to
Just
say
curious.
260, 270.
Yeah, I think it was
I want to think
260.
somewhere around there.
Nice. That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
267. Well, until further notice. We're doing a little bit of clean eating.
Oh.
But
Okay.
last time I weighed in, it was 267.
Okay.
Holy moly, I do not want to fight you.
Well, the thing is, when you're on
I
the
don't want to
ground,
fight Jeremy. Are you serious?
well, with the weight, it's like, okay, you got someone's 260, I'm 260, we're on the ground, and we're doing MMA. If I get up, all that weight that's
Oh my
that
God.
I'm picking up, it's tiring.
You're like doing
exhausting.
a giant squat.
Right. I
with,
wish
like,
I would have done
plates.
more kickboxing, Muay Thai.
Did you only
'cause
do
I like
like
to
one
stand
or two
up.
kickboxing?
I did one.
One.
I did one.
Yeah.
You
Um,
like the
Yeah, I don't like getting on the ground, and it's just hard for me to get up on the,
move
even
it,
now. If I get on the
move
ground, it's hard for me to get up.
So
The roly-poly
what got
guy.
you into doing that fight? Knowing that you don't really like the ground game. Like
I just wanted to fight.
Yeah, at the end of the day.
Yeah,
Okay.
just at the end of the day, I wanted to fight, and whatever you got for me, because the one before that was kickboxing, and then went to that one, and then my last fight is when I fought Waldo
Waldo. Yeah.
Acosta Cortez, and I never been hit so hard in my life. That's when it was a wild
Really?
horse pass.
That was a big fight.
He was a lot stronger than I thought. I tried to
Yeah.
grab a hold of him. Dude is way too strong. And then,
Really?
And then that right hand, like I didn't even know it hit me. That's why I see the video. I'm like this. I'm like, I didn't even know what happened. I've never been hit so hard.
Have you seen the video?
Yeah.
Really? No, I have to see this. This
Yeah,
is crazy.
Coach Yoda.
This is crazy. So you said that was your last fight?
That was my last fight.
Yeah.
So after that, was it just time to move on to something else, or
After that, it was a kind of a time to be like, is this what I really want to do? Like, I was going through a lot at that time. There's no excuse. He kicked my ass. I was going through a divorce at that time. Still going through stuff with my kids at that time. And mentally, I probably shouldn't have been. Fighting in there because my head wasn't right.
You really do have to have that right for you to fight.
And I noticed that after that fight, it's like, if your mind's not right, you shouldn't be in there. Because was I thinking about that fight when I was in there, or was I thinking about
Other things,
the divorce
right?
and all that other stuff going on? No, I should have had my mind clear.
And it's not even really thinking about it. It's just having that residual energy in your brain at all. Like, you don't have your pure focus on what the task in front of you. You know what I mean?
Right, and you could really get hurt. I mean, they think, we want to fight, you want to fight. Yeah, MMA is not a joke.
It's not.
You could die. I mean, it's a serious.
Literally.
If your head's not right, you need to. It takes one mess up.
he always speaks on that, how it's literally, if you're not it up here.
If it's not, like, you need to learn to step back.
Right.
It's huge. It's probably like the hugest thing for like the whole fighting community, like the whole fighter lifestyle. Like if your brain isn't there to activate at any given notice, if it's too busy on other things, and just take a step back, relax, clear that other stuff, and then attack that.
Okay, champ.
I'm weak.
All right, champ. You guys
Took me a
heard it
minute.
right here. The secret to success.
I'm weak.
Nice.
Follow Jeremy.
So I wanna for like the last little bit of like this interview part of this pod, I wanna like know how you got to where you're at right now. So how did you even get into, or did you create ISKA? Which is
No, that was Corey Schaefer. He's the president of ISKA.
okay.
He's who I work for. And I started doing what I'm doing probably around 2012, 2013, because when I started fighting, Max is like, well, you can
Ref?
judge.
Yeah,
You want to
yeah.
ref, you want to judge? And we go up and we judge, we ref, and have a good time. Didn't get paid. They paid for our rooms, but didn't get no monetary
Right.
value for years. I think I worked it was the IKF at the time that we were working
IKF.
for, IKF. And for years would work for them and go do shows and, just did it for free.
Yeah.
Even if we had to drive up to Camp Verde or wherever it was
Right.
where the fights were, we would just do it for free for that experience.
So real quick,
Okay.
it made me think of a question when you were saying you drove up somewhere.
Uh-huh.
How often do you have to drive far to get to these events?
Every month. I mean, I'm an hour and a half. We have shows here in Gilbert. I live out past Maricopa in Hidden Valley, and we're about an hour and a half from the venue.
How is that like?
Right.
How does that affect your life? Like, you know what I mean? I'm trying to get an idea of
Well,
this job. Yeah.
My wife is co-director with me, and we do it together, which
Yeah.
makes it a little bit easier. But it still takes that time.
Yeah, yeah.
Whether we're doing paperwork,
Right,
we're
right.
going through, we're putting stuff in the computer. It takes a lot of time people don't see.
Right.
But when I think about, hey, maybe this ain't something I want to do anymore, I'm like, why am I here? I'm here for the safety of the fighters. When I'm doing something, I know that they're weighed the right way,
Yeah.
or stuff's going the right way,
Right.
and these fighters aren't put in danger because we're here to help that. So that's my drive. Is just the safety of the fighters, to make sure they're getting a safe fight. They got people in there that are going to protect them.
Out of anybody that I've ever experienced being in that position that you're in, I've never had anybody take their job as serious as you do, and I can't thank you enough for that.
Oh,
No, seriously, like,
yeah. Well, we're here for the fighters. Even if I see stuff that has nothing to do, if it has to do with fighters, I think that's fighter safety at the end of the day. If it's too hot outside, you need to come in.
Right.
Yeah. It's simple stuff like that, or
and not even everybody's aware of what you're in control of to make sure that the fighters are comfortable and safe. You know what I mean?
right, and then making sure that I have the right referees, the right judges.
Right.
That if I got a judge that comes in and isn't doing a good job, and we're seeing that, we're gonna have to change it out,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I know how it is to be judged unfairly.
Right, right.
As a fighter, we don't ever want to be in that position where, like, oh, that judge is, because they're from a different school. Like,
Kind of
it's
like
in a way,
when
yeah.
you hear a decision of a fight and it seems kind of like a fighter got robbed a little bit.
right, and that's why I tell all my judges, if you know somebody from this school, you can't do this.
Right.
You can't judge this fight. You can sit out this fight and come back, because it's so hard for people to separate. I know this guy, that's my friend. when I was judging, I don't care if you're my friend or not. I'm
Right.
looking at who
Performance.
put in the more work. You know, I don't care if I've known you for 20 years.
Yeah.
When I'm sitting there judging, it's about
That's
Yeah.
your job. That's
right, because if that other kid was training 10 days, 20 days straight, whatever, and this kid's like doing 5, like you can tell.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can tell.
You wouldn't want to handicap somebody you like love or like either.
Right.
It's like, oh yeah, let me get you the win. No,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not gonna help you.
Like you really didn't win. You know, when we fight too,
Yeah.
as fighters, we know if we won or we didn't.
100%.
No matter what the judges say, no matter how it turns out, we know that
100%.
hey, I lost that fight, but I got lucky because the judges,
They're in my favor.
right? They're in my favor somehow.
Somehow, yeah. Let's hyphenate that.
So when did you go from being like the ref or the judge?
Mm-hmm.
You never refed, did you?
I did ref a couple times. I'm not quick enough. I'll stand like this. I'm looking at the fighters, and all of a sudden,
Dude, on
my
the floor
mind,
again.
they're over here. I'm like, whoa, that's not good
That's
for
fast.
me.
They're fast. Like
Yeah, they fly. So I was like, well, being a referee is not my strong suit.
When did you go from being a judge to being more higher? I guess you're like kind of in the management area of it.
Yeah,
How do you like being the director of ISKA now?
it feels good. It feels good to. It's just a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
I mean, with the job, people think, oh, it's easy and this and that, and all you. No, like I said, I have to find the proper referees to
Right.
make sure they're right. You know, make sure the day they even have that day, because the referees that we use sometimes they're with the commission, sometimes, and commissions have events,
Other events.
right? So
Yeah.
if they got a same day event, now I got to find someone
To replace.
to replace them, and I just can't throw in someone that doesn't know what they're doing
Right.
because it's about
Right.
the safety. We're going.
Yo,
back to
on
that.
the refs real quick, I gotta give you props. There's, I don't know all the refs, but I had an interaction with one of them, and this dude, he's the bald dude. You
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
Is
that?
that Joe Sullivan?
Joe.
This
yeah.
guy was on his stuff.
He's very.
I had a conversation with him, and he was like, "Oh yep, no clinching the leg," and like, dude, this guy knew what
He's
he
very
was
on it.
doing.
And did you see him in there?
Yeah.
Oh,
When they would clinch, he's like, you, and
Oh,
then he
no,
took
yeah.
point, and then took a point from the other one right after
Right
that. And I'm
after,
like,
yeah.
he was
He's on it.
on it.
He was
And
on
he actually comes out from Las Vegas.
Oh wow.
I heard there
I didn't know
was
that.
2 judges, right, from Vegas on that last
No,
one?
there was
No?
Ryan Brugerman, which
there's
he
Ryan.
he's here in Arizona, and then Joe Sullivan from Las Vegas.
From Vegas.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you definitely know what you're doing because I just seen it from the choices of ref.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, I didn't even know you selected the refs and stuff.
Mhm.
But yeah, props because those dudes were on their business.
Yeah, they're very good. I like to have them at the shows. It's yeah, and I'm not perfect myself. Like I make mistakes.
Who is?
Just when that happens, we like to, hey, this is what I did.
Absolutely.
And we move on and learn from it. Like that's all my guys. Like, are we all perfect? No, but we're there for the safety of the fighters, and that's
Right.
that's
That's
our
the
ultimate
major-
goal.
Yeah.
And sometimes stuff slips through. But then, okay, instead of criticizing and saying, hey, this guy's trash.
Yeah.
Okay, what's trash? Communicate. That's why I tell all the fighters and coaches, hey, come to me. If you got a problem, email me, come to me, let's talk about it. Why you're saying this, but why? Oh, because of this, that. Okay, well, that's a very easy fix. See, if you would have came to me like that, then it's fine.
Right.
Like constructive criticism. I want to hear. I want to be better. I want to be the best in Arizona.
I want to grow. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
You're good.
So I have one more like good question for you as the commissioner of ISKA,
Mhm.
and then I'm gonna go on to do a kind of a questionnaire for you.
Okay.
And I think it'll be cool.
Okay.
But last question I have for you is, how do you deal with, just because I'm not familiar, how do you deal with, let's say there was a fighter that got robbed his win? How do you deal with that as the leader? You put these guys in their positions. How do you deal with that situation?
Well, if someone feels like they got robbed, it has to go through Corey, who's the president, and he sees the video. There's a fee for that, for him to go and look and see, okay, was he really robbed? What is that? And then come back with a decision.
Right.
If they feel like they really got robbed. Because
Legitimately, yeah.
I'm Arizona. So anything that's big like that,
Right.
the president he wants to be in charge of that. And
yeah.
hey, he takes care of us. So he wants to be, and I feel like it's good too because coming from the president, oh, you're going to take time to look at this over? Like, okay,
That does feel
right, that feels good.
So that is very curious to me. So can a fight decision get overturned? I've
It
never
can.
heard of that before.
Right, that's how rare it is, though.
Only if it's a misapplication of the rules.
Only if it's a misapplication of the rules.
So, can you give me an example of a misapplication of the rules? Yeah, shout out wifey.
Co-director.
Like a foul that we didn't see or we didn't count it as a foul, but it was a foul.
Oh, so let's just say if there was like an incidental elbow that nobody caught, but it was between the fighters type thing.
Right, it was a foul.
A foul, right?
Right. And we didn't see it.
Right.
But we run the video back and it's like, okay, there's a foul.
Right,
Nice.
right.
Or if somebody kept clinching and the ref wasn't calling it.
Mm.
There you go.
That's a
Right.
good one.
Well, these
one.
are the answers you get from leadership of these fighting events. This is
Yeah.
cool. I don't think that's really like known information, to be honest. I've never heard of a fight getting like overturned.
Mhm.
I mean, is there a good example of a fight that's gotten overturned?
There was that fight. It didn't get overturned though, right?
No.
No, we had
They just
a.
appealed for it, though?
Someone got their jaw broken and it was by a knee. That was
Yeah, there was a guy that got his jaw broken with the knee. We didn't see it. We didn't see the knee. We watched that video hundreds of times, and what's crazy is that video catches some stuff. Well, right when that knee happened, camera
No
position
way.
switched.
Oh,
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah,
So that if it's not enough evidence to like overturn
Overturn,
right.
something, then
Yeah.
it's
right.
like football and you can't
Right.
overturn it.
Right.
Okay. Well, wow, that was very interesting. Very interesting.
That's crazy.
All right, Jeremy. So, anything real quick about your history that you wanted to get out there before I ask you these questions? Because these
No.
next set of questions are, it's just curious,
Okay.
maybe personal, but this is just so the audience could really get to know how your brain works.
No, I'm.
But are we pretty good?
Yeah,
on
we're
that?
good. We're solid.
Sweet. Well, Jeremy, everybody,
Top notch locked in.
Commissioner of ISKA, without
Director.
the H, just ISKA. ISKA. Okay, so
Okay.
every now and then, I don't ask every guest, but whenever I think we might be able to get some real deep answers, this is one of those moments.
Okay.
So, question number 1: what is one of your biggest fears?
My biggest fear is not teaching my kids enough to live by themselves. Not being around long enough to make sure they have the tools they need to live their life without me.
How long is long enough? Just curious.
What do you mean?
Yeah, you said not being around long enough. How
But
long?
not long enough for me to teach them what they need to know.
Oh, I get it.
Kind of give them the skills to provide for themselves, to just be self-sufficient.
Problem solved.
That worries me. I think that's one of the only things that worries me. It's just me not being able to teach them, and then I'm gone. And who am I going to count on to teach them? Because
Right.
if I didn't do it, I know my wife will be there, but it just I want to make sure they're good.
Right,
if I
right.
if I passed away and they weren't where they needed to be, I'd be kind of like I let them
Be
down.
mad up in heaven.
I'd be
You said, "Damn,
right. I'd be mad that I let them down.
Yeah.
So
you're a good dude."
I
Appreciate
appreciate it.
that answer. Okay, so the next question, I don't know if I should ask you this question because it's
Go
like,
ahead.
remember, it's the one to pick one of the three. Should I ask him this question?
Nah.
I don't want to put you in a spot where you have to pick one of your family members because of how good of a guy you are. So we're gonna skip that question.
It's a crazy question.
Okay, so this is a good one. This might give us an insight on maybe your religious beliefs. But what do you think happens when we die?
I'm not too sure. I believe that there's a higher power. Exactly what the higher power is, I don't know. I think religion is hard because I was a big part of the church. Me and my wife and I, we helped run, 5th and 6th graders, and
Yeah.
we did a lot of stuff. And then it just came to a point where I know there's something out there, but there's so many religions that we're supposed to love.
Yeah. Yeah.
God said to love no matter what, love
matter
each
what,
other.
yeah.
With all these different religions, it's division, and then that religion's not right. That religion's not right. Okay, when we get up, we're all not right. But if we're
yeah.
loving, we just love each other.
That's all that matters.
We wouldn't be
Yeah.
doing this division and fighting because there would just be nothing but love.
All that pointing fingers.
Right. And I've looked into different religions. I'm like, oh, this has its good parts. And then I'm like, oh, and then this has its good parts.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm like,
Yeah.
if I just love everybody and people come to my house and I would talk to them. Like, why are you
Good
talking to
morals
them?
and ethics are like what it should be.
Right. And I'm just like, hey, I'm going to respect you. Come to my house. But once you start pushing stuff on me, no.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
I agree. I think even Zay, like 100% agrees with that.
1,000%.
I wouldn't myself, if I'm gonna put myself out there. I grew up in a Christian church. Grew up Christian.
Same.
But I can't. I don't think I really could claim myself as a Christian. I like kind of like everything you just preached right now. That's kind of where I'm at. Like I feel like all these different religions, like you said, kind of like do segregate everybody in a way. Like, oh, I'm right. No, this is right. You know what I mean?
Well, I've seen some interviews for people overseas talking about Christians. Oh, no, I don't want to be a Christian. They're hypocrites.
Right.
You know, and I'm like,
Right.
I get that 100%. But at the end of the day, like I would tell my kids, my son would be like, oh, Dad, you're going to church. You're changing your life. You're going good. I want to be like you. I said, no, you don't. Don't follow me because I'm going to fail you. I will fail you, son. Eventually, somehow, some way. Follow God and love. So no matter what, if you're following God and loving, then that's all you need to do.
Right.
You know, don't follow me. I'm not the best example of you following. But I appreciate what my son would say. But I'm just like, no. If we follow that, and that's why I'm saying Christians are hypocrites. Okay, the Christians you knew were hypocrites.
Right.
And is there a bunch of hypocrites? There's hypocrites in all
I grew
religions.
up in church, and there is a bunch of hypocrites.
Right. But then, is that love?
No.
Right.
You know? Okay, I'm going to put you down. You're a hypocrite. I just accept
Like
for who they are.
yeah.
I accept them for who they are, and I know what I know what it's gonna be like. But I know for me, I just need to love and teach my kids that love, because more love needs to be taught.
Yes.
Because all this hate, all this violence, all these
agree.
people hurting them, senseless violence for what? Give your kid a hug. You know, maybe he won't go shoot at school when he wakes up.
Yeah.
You know,
I think it's
100%.
I think the biggest thing would have to be just teaching your kids to find the positives in everything. And a lot of people don't really know how to have that perspective or mindset moving forward. So it's just kind of like,
that's my wife. I'm not so much positive about everything. I wake
That's
up
how you
and my wife's positive. I'm like, stop being so positive.
So I like that you brought her up, because this next question has something to do with that. So do you think there is such thing as a soulmate?
I think there is. But I think it's something also you work on. You may have a soulmate, but if you're not communicating, you're not doing what you need to do to keep connected with that soulmate. So at the time you meet each other, you're like this.
puppy love.
But
Moon
now
phase?
you brought kids in, there's bills, there's fighting, there's no more of these Friday nights just hanging out. Nope, it's back like this.
Right.
And if you don't work on that to get it back to this, then it's not gonna last.
Right.
But I do believe the soulmate is very important, but I think sometimes that soulmate could just be like, I'm done.
So in your opinion,
in my opinion,
in
yes.
your opinion, is there that one person that you're tied to? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean?
all the relationships I've been in, I think it's, I don't think it's one person, honestly. It's hard for me.
My take on that.
That's a hard thought.
Right.
It's a hard thought.
I think if the right person is somebody that wants to try and put in the effort. In my opinion, I think anyone could potentially be the soulmate, depending on the time you meet them. Are they in a good phase in their life to where they're, you know what I mean?
So when it comes to that, your soulmate is one person. Okay, that's my soulmate. That's the one person in my life. That soulmate stops. That soulmate stops trying. Doesn't want to try no more. Is that still your soulmate?
No. So I guess right now in this moment, wifey is soulmate.
Right.
Because
100%.
fate and the world has brought you guys together.
Right, and it's
And you guys are
the
pretty
only
much effort for
reason
each
the only
other.
reason it's even like that is because we both try.
Yeah.
On my hard days, she's there. If I'm in pain, she's there to help me. When
Beautiful.
she's having a hard day, I'm there. She's this positive teacher helping everybody,
Yeah.
and where I fail at, she excels at. And where
that's
she
cool.
fails at, that's where I excel.
That's so cool.
And if we just come together, and sometimes we do have our arguments, but we talk it out. It's like, let's what's really going on? Let's get down to the bottom of this. This is not being petty, or I'm hungry, or she's hungry, or somebody, let's get down to it. And then we come up with a solution, and then we move on with our day.
I feel like if you can really problem solve with somebody, like whether that be a friend, whether that be a relationship or family member, I feel like that person really signifies their importance to your life.
Well, and with all those things, business,
Yeah.
communication, 100%. If you don't have that communication, you think somebody's mad at you because you walk in and you see their face, you're like, oh, they're pissed. Like, you already got an attitude because, no, communicate.
Yeah.
If you communicate, because you never know. They can have just how their face looks.
Right.
The rest
And
of
they're
the-
right, and they're not even pissed off.
No.
They're not even pissed off.
Yeah.
But if you perceive they're mad, like, what are you pissed off about? Well, you're already starting. You're starting to fight. That's what you're doing.
All right.
Communication,
So
comprehension.
you were put on the spot a little bit because wifey's over there.
Yeah.
So did you tweak your answer because wifey's right here?
No.
Or is
I
that
talk in
you?
front of my wife. Like if I was talking to my friends, like I don't hold nothing back, good or bad.
I feel like you've always been like this.
I am who I am.
Yeah.
Like if we get in the car and she's like, oh, I can't believe you said that. I'm like, that's who I am. I'm not gonna come here and be fake around people because they're gonna be like, oh, when Jeremy's with his wife, he's like this, but when he's not, he's out partying.
And they get in the car like later and they're like, you're such a liar.
That's not true.
Commenting on all the
That's
videos.
funny.
Like,
So this is an interesting question. You remember you were saying about the thyroid and other cancerous stuff. So it's been in your mind before that death was looming, right? So I'm interested to know if it was your last day on earth today, what would be your last meal?
Wow. Some mashed potatoes with hamburger meat with a cream of mushroom.
oh, nice. That's hard.
That's a really good answer.
Yeah.
We've gotten some decent answers. Actually, our last guest, Nadine, she said that she wanted some Romanian food.
Yeah.
Is that what you
I
said?
think so.
But you're very specific. I like that. So
It was dope.
you want the whole hamburger or just the patty?
No, it's the like the broken up like hamburger meat.
All of
kind of like meatloafy or
No, just put the hamburger meat on there, cook it up, and then
Mashed potatoes?
In a way,
and,
kind of like chorizo. In a way.
and then put the cream of mushroom with the hamburger meat, mix it up, and then pour it on top of the.
Boy, what you doing?
Jeremy's gonna have to invite us to a little barbecue. Nice. All right, so
Sounds so good.
I got one more question for you. It took Nadine, our last guest, a second to answer this one.
Okay.
So I'm just super curious. If you were in a room full of full of all the people you've ever met in your entire life, and you're on stage just looking at all of them, right? Not necessarily doing like a show or nothing, just you and you have all these people. Who's the first person you're looking for?
My wife.
Wow. That was fast.
Yeah.
Just because the support. I support her like she
Girl,
supports
you
me.
pick good over here.
Like she supports me, so if it's in a crowd, like I'm gonna look for that. My mom's passed, but I thought maybe if that'd make a difference, but I don't think it would. I mean, because when it comes down to when I got married,
Right.
that's who is. I'm gonna be there. That she's gonna be
Right,
there for me. My mom got her own thing going on. So I think it would be my wife too, and I'd do better just because she was there. Now if I didn't see her at all, I mean that would probably tank whatever I was gonna do.
Yeah.
Like just a big letdown in my head. But
Nice.
That's goals. Like I'm done. That's goals.
I love that. I don't really know a lot about your relationship, but from what I can hear, she is like your rock. From just what I like hear from you, and that's like just beautiful.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful
it's
thing.
not easy, but it's
The good
we
things are
constantly work on it, and we're not perfect. But that's why I tell people, they're like, oh well, look at you, and I'm like, it's not perfect. You think every day is like, oh hey, how you doing? We're just hugging each other up? No, it's not. We go through the hard talks.
Well,
we don't do kids and.
What's really perfect? Like, what's the idea behind perfect? Like, you know what I mean?
I think it's perfect. Like people just even like on Facebook. Oh, we had a great day. We did this. They didn't say about the domestic violence or whatever.
Strangled around a couple times. Like.
Right. Everyone wants to always show the positive stuff, and I'm like, I show the negative. When I was in counseling or when we had like
To
group,
me, that's perfect.
when we had a group with other people,
Equal.
other marriages, other like kind of counseling, but with like a group, it'd be like, so what'd you do? I was like, well, I I lost my shit. What do you mean? I said, I lost my shit. I started yelling. And they're like, well, yeah, I'm going to tell the good stuff with the bad stuff.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
okay, I do try this, but there's some times where I lose my shit, and that just is what it is. And it's like, I don't want to sit here and be fake that, oh, everything's just perfect. No.
You just
it's
own up
something
to
that
you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't be like, well, she did that. No, I did this.
Right.
Right.
This is how I reacted, and it was wrong. You know, because like I said, we have to own up to our stuff. I think there's a lot of accountability for yourself, and a lot of people, I feel like they don't have that accountability for themselves.
They don't like the spotlight. It's a spotlight thing. It's just they have to accept their wrongdoings. And nowadays, it's more of like, oh, you're right. It's okay for you to do this. Hey, you had a reason for this. You know what I mean? So
And if you tell the truth, people don't want to hear it.
yeah.
A lot of times, you tell the truth, they're like, shh. What do you mean?
What do you mean?
It's
Yeah,
the truth,
yeah.
and like, no, it's not. Well, it is the truth. You just don't want. You haven't accepted that.
Right.
You haven't held yourself accountable. So when you do, if you do,
That shows a really strong character.
it's.
Seriously.
Well, we gotta mold these kids, man.
You know what I mean? Like I've always seen you as like me personally. I've never really told you this, but I've always seen you as like a really high graded leader. You know, you've always really led me whenever we were training, fighting, for anything like that. Even now, even behind the scenes, whenever you're taking care of any business behind the events, you know, you're always a leader to pretty much anybody that always comes up to you. You and your wife, you guys are always just, let's handle this, let's do this the right way.
Right.
Instead of like, let's just get it done and it's kind of rickety, but let's hopefully it holds. Like, no, like your guys' foundation is
I
impeccable.
can sense, I sense in him whenever he goes to a PFA fight and you're there, he's very comfortable because he knows Jeremy's there,
For real.
making sure everything's going on,
Seriously.
and wifey, making sure
Seriously.
everything's being handled. And he's told me that he's like, oh, Jeremy's got it. Like just stuff like that, like you know, like oh, what about this? What's gonna happen? Don't worry about it. Jeremy's gonna handle the business.
Seriously, no, seriously. Like,
Yeah,
I have full faith and confidence in you guys to always just do what you guys do. Like, and that's
And we
all.
won't speak about it on record, but Zay was ready to go to battle with you. He was ready to follow you wherever you were gonna go, or whatever.
And that's us.
Yeah, I'm
That's us. Max too.
Yeah.
I see Max in the shadows. I was like, look, Max is like Batman in the shadows, and I'm like, hey,
He'll get you.
he may not be fast.
Yeah.
Oh no, he is fast.
He's fast.
He's fast, but he can't hide as great. But he was right there. I seen him, and I'm like, and that's hey, we're a team.
Yeah.
We gotta look out for each other, and what's right is right. And with Max,
Right.
with Max is always what is right is right.
Yeah.
What's wrong is wrong. We need to speak on it.
He's a very respectable guy, and I've gotten from Jose. He's got a lot of love for Max. It's like the more I experience whatever you guys are going through, the more I hang out with you guys, the more love I got for you guys. Like it's just real, it's raw,
They're genuine characters of their own world, and they radiate their energy upon everybody else. So it's just like, it's nothing but positive. It's nothing but
they
like
are the
enforcement.
definition of underrated AF.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
100%. Yeah, Max is. I dropped his the ring at his wedding, and he's still.
Oh yeah!
You forgot about that?
Oh my god! I forgot
He's
all
all.
about that.
There's one thing you can't do is drop the ring, and all of a sudden I was like,
Oh my god!
I got up there and it dropped. And I didn't even hear it drop. I'm like,
Yeah.
Patricia wasn't very happy. I don't think she's still happy.
Yeah, she was pissed. Oh, she was so mad.
That's funny. So,
I forgot
father,
about that.
friend, mentor, leader, commissioner, and
Director.
almost lawyer. Jeremy, it has been an honor to have you on this
I
podcast.
appreciate it.
I got to know so much more about you. You know what I mean? I got lots of love for you. Zay has love for you. Is there anything from your mentor side that you want to tell potential people that might be struggling with anything in life? Is there any sort of advice you can give them?
Well, with everything I've been through, I think that it's just, you got to remember, you're having a hard time. You're going to get through it. It's a small part of your life that you're going to go through whatever you're going through, and then you move on to the next. You'll get through it, and then you'll have a good time, and then you go back and you'll go through hard times. But just know it's going to be hard to get through it, but you can still do it. Some people I know that committed suicide is because they thought they couldn't get through it.
Right.
Call me, text me, Send me an email. I don't care who it is. If you're going through a hard time and you need help, give me a call, give me a text, because I'll be there. If it's midnight, I might not be answering my phone because I go to bed at 8 because I'm old.
I'm dead.
But send me a text, call me. I want to be here, because being in that kind of position in myself, thinking that that's it, life's too hard. It's not. Your life has just started, and you just need to you think nobody's here for me. And I told myself that, and I thought about, hey, is somebody really not there, or am I just not looking for somebody? Because when I go through those times, Max, I'm just looking at who's here right with me right now. That's it. But there are people that are there. So I'm a big advocate of, hey, if you're going through something, we're men. We can still talk we can talk about it. We can get through it. Mm-hmm. And if we can help somebody feel like life's worth living,
100%,
then my job here in this world is done. Because just saving one person's life, being there for them, that's worth everything.
There you go. Jeremy Cardinal, ladies and gentlemen. One of the greatest dudes in general, but one of the greatest dudes we've had thus far on the pod, I would say.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
love you, brother.
All right, you too, man.
All right, big dog. And I definitely co-sign you doing a podcast, because you had mentioned to me something about you wanting to maybe do some sort of conversation to help people that,
That'd be dope.
like you said,
Fathers.
like got out of prison and
Yeah.
can't see their kids and stuff. 100%, I think you have that voice. You can tell that you care
The
when you
presence.
talk.
Mm-hmm.
And I think definitely looking forward to episode 1.
Yeah, I think that's definitely what we're looking forward to doing. It's just that women have all these outlets, and us men, like with kids, it's like, oh, there's not a place for you. There's not for you.
Right.
Let's help each other out. Let's not sit here and put each other down. Let's be here for each other. We're men. Let's help each other out and be here for each other. Like the women have their movements. Like, oh, where's the women movement? Let's all be here for each other. Well, same thing with the men. Let's do it.
Let's bring our guard down.
It's just good to have support.
Vulnerable.
Right.
Be vulnerable and be there for each other. Like, not be afraid to help somebody out, because it's going to make you look weak.
Right.
You know, that's what we grew up. Well, I grew up is like, oh, you're showing your emotions, you're weak. Well, there's a time and place. But when you're together as men and you're going through something, let's help these guys out.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's prosper together. You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
If anybody needs any sort of, if you just need someone to talk to, just hit any of us up. That would be awesome. Did you want to shout out your socials? I don't know how on there you are.
My email is ISKA@gmail.com. You can hit me up on that. That's as far as that's my social.
If you're looking for anything between venting and beating someone's ass, ISKA of AZ, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm saying.
All right, guys. So this is a great episode. I'm definitely gonna enjoy looking back on this one.
Seriously.
We're gonna definitely see you guys next week for episode 20 of the Underrated AF podcast. Peace.